How you doing, guys? This is Eric from wasteland.com. If you think you notice an extra gleam of hunger in my eyes, that's just what it is. It's actual hunger, because I haven't eaten anything in over 2 days. I just passed the 48-hour mark. Just water and black coffee, so I don't want to say 0 calories, because I think black coffee has like 3 or 4 calories in it, but basically 0 calories, no actual calories. And I'm planning on probably going to the full 72. So you may ask yourselves, why would the man with the greatest collection of stag chili this side of the Rio Grande be forced to not eat anything? And of course, not actually forced, but it is a decent experiment I wanted to be doing for a couple reasons. First of all, I was just out of town for a little while, and you know, you kind of eat like shit when you're traveling, and not exceptionally bad by normal American standards, but not healthily. And so I wanted to kind of just do a purge. And I also, you know, if you look back throughout your life, think if you've ever gone without food for more than even a full 24 hours. Probably not. Because I mean, even when I was doing periods of military training, I wasn't in Ranger school or anything like that, but even in just the regular periods of training when we'd be out in the field for a week or whatever, we might go 12, 16, 18 hours with very little food, but you know, normally have some MRE bread or something I would stuff in my pocket, or you at least eat at the beginning or the end of the day, have an MRE or something like that. So I didn't do any, I didn't do SEER school or anything like that. So I can't think of any specific time when I know for a fact that I've gone for more than 24 hours without some kind of food, which is pretty soft if you think about it. And I didn't do it on purpose, obviously there was just never any particular need to, but it's something I definitely wanted to experience, and for, you know, preparation purposes too, and not just for kind of clearing out the gunk that I've been eating. Not that Chick-fil-A is gunk, it is Lord's chicken, but you know, be that as it may, probably not the best thing to be cramming down your gullet. So what have I learned from this experience in mental and physical fortitude? Honestly, the worst, like I said, right now I'm at just past the 48-hour mark. Probably plan on going the full 72, unless something changes. But the worst time so far was because when you're coming off a diet that has, you know, crappy food in it, like especially cheap, simple carbs like sugars and stuff like that, that's what your body wants to use before it starts burning in fat. So you start getting cravings really bad just before you would start going into ketosis or using fats for fuel. So that was the most uncomfortable. If you're coming off a much more clean diet, or a keto diet, but not even necessarily keto, but one where your carbs were limited to around 25% of your calories, it probably wouldn't be quite as painful. But it wasn't even necessarily the hunger per se, because like right now I feel much better than I did at the 24 to 30 hour mark. In that time, that like 6 hours or so, my stomach just hurt. It wasn't even like a craving. It just got really like acidic, heartburn feeling, kind of crampy, and really bloaty. And it was very uncomfortable, but it wasn't even necessarily that I was like craving food more, just literally my stomach was upset and hurt. And then past that, I felt much better. Definitely hungry, very hungry. I'm like looking at these, I've got some like beef jerky, or biltong rather, with no sugar in it, already picked out. I accidentally went to the grocery store and like went ham because I was like so hungry. Just bought everything, like just imagining eating it later yesterday. And that was only at like the 36-hour mark or something. But so definitely hungry, but nothing, that hunger itself has been perfectly manageable. That 4 to 6 hour period at like 28 to 32 hours, somewhere in there, like just past a full day, that was the most uncomfortable. It was like literally painful for a few hours, and I was like, what the hell is going on? Like, my body's rejecting this. And but after that, now it's just been hunger that's always there, but nothing completely onerous. I will say that I haven't been doing anything completely physical, just normal moving about, went on some walks and stuff like that. I am gonna try to do a short workout later today to see how my body feels doing kind of physical exertion, completely fasted state for, 36 hours or whatever, or no, 48 to 60 hours, whatever. And I'll let you guys know probably in a subsequent video. But I definitely think it's something that everyone should do. First of all, it's probably healthy. If Americans just fasted for like 48 hours every week and did nothing else different, there'd probably be a huge increase in overall health, a huge decrease in obesity and things like that. But I definitely think for preppers, it's something you should experience, know what your body's going to feel like when you get to that point, if you get to that point. The whole point of prepping, as I show with my stash of stag chili, link will be in the description to the best prepper food on the planet. Sorry, Canadian prepper, I know he likes to freeze-dried stuff, but it does not beat the stag chili, I'm sorry. And you know, if you don't know what it's gonna feel like, the whole idea of having the food is so we don't have to get to that point, but you never know what's gonna happen. So it's definitely good to have that in your brain to get to that point mentally, physically, whatever. And really, if you think about it, 2-3 days without food should not be that serious. It's something that throughout humankind, people have had to deal with all the time. Much more severe things than that. But, and also, you know, if you want to get into the literature, I don't personally believe in science, but if you want to get into the literature, there's all sorts of positive things that are supposed to happen to the body when you reach a state of autophagy or autophagy, depending on how you pronounce it, of cellular repair, things like that. So in that, like, especially when you get to, like, I think the 48 and 72 hour mark and maybe even beyond. You know, beyond that would be a little wild if you're not overweight, but it certainly can be done. I think the idea that people need to eat, like, constantly is so damaging. First of all, it's wrong, it's damaging, it's unhealthy. I had a friend whose husband is a doctor, I think they're both doctors. He was talking about how he was treating someone in the ER, fat kid, was getting like an asthma treatment, and the mom was like taking the mask off to give this kid like snacks because they were like, he hasn't eaten in 3 hours or whatever, and is like, this is a big problem. And if you guys aren't familiar, there was this guy named Angus Burberry, I think, this was back in the day, I think it was like, I have no idea, 70s, 80s, something like that, I think, maybe even much older than that, whatever, it was a while ago. He was morbidly obese, like 450, 500 pounds, something like that. And he just stopped eating. Nothing but black coffee. I think he took an occasional electrolyte tablet and just the black coffee, like I was mentioning. Guess how long he went with zero food? 380 plus days, over a full year. Because literally that's why our bodies store fat, is so you can use it. And he lost an average of 12 ounces of fat a day. That's how much it takes to sustain you. So if you have an extra 30, 50 pounds and you think like going without food for 2 or 3 days feels like a long time, it really isn't. And you could go much, much longer. And once your body gets into that mode where it's using fat for fuel, then it's less uncomfortable than in the beginning, honestly. And you know, once you get to the point of true starvation, it's gonna be all-consuming thought in your brain. And one of the books of the guys he was actually born in a North Korean prison camp, not even just in North Korea, he was born in the prison camp. So his entire experience was not just the shittiness of North Korea, but the prison camps, which are even, you know, orders of magnitude worse. He had no concept of freedom, you know, just didn't even know what that would mean or feel like. But the one thing that drove him to finally escape was the absolute hunger and the idea of roasted meat. He'd had small morsels of it at various times when they would like steal or catch a wild animal that wandered, because these camps are like giant compounds or whatever. And just that all-consuming hunger was what drove him to finally escape, not even freedom. So you can definitely get to that point. I'm not saying that hunger is not a serious issue, because it is. What I'm saying is that when you have any excess body fat, you're not really starving. You'll just be hungry, and there is definitely a difference. Your body has the fuel it needs from your stored body fat, so you're gonna be uncomfortable. Your body realizes that it's using it, it wants you to get more fuel, but you're not literally starving. So definitely something I think you guys should try. Let me know what you think. Post in the comments, what's the longest you've ever been without any food? I'm not talking about like, you know, snacks, not full meals. I mean any food. And for me, I really doubt it was ever more than 24 hours. I can't think of a specific time. And I'm much more of like a grazer anyway. I don't tend to eat big meals. So I don't really go, I do like just incidentally do kind of like intermittent fasting, not really on purpose, but I don't wake up, I don't eat right after I wake up for quite a while. So, you know, I very often go 14 or 16 hours without eating, but almost never, I don't think I've ever gone 24 hours or more, certainly not more than 48. So yeah, it's an interesting experience. Feel decent now. Like I said, I'm gonna do a little workout later, just short, a couple sets of 3 or 4 exercises to see what I feel like. And then I'm gonna chow down tomorrow. So like, I'm spending my time deciding what I'm gonna eat without getting too dirty. Not gonna go back to the Chick-fil-A, gonna keep it clean, like this real beef jerky with no sugar in it. I got a ton of chicken, got maybe some deviled eggs, something like that. Gonna keep it relatively low carb. So it's a good experiment, I think, for a lot of people to do, because I think right now, so many Americans especially are just afraid of like going without food. It seems like an immense challenge. Like, I didn't eat for 3 days, it's unimaginable. And I think for people who are especially considering themselves preppers or any type of badass in any other sense, if you can't go for food without a measly 2 or 3 days, what does that say about you? So it's good preparations. So remember, the preparations are all mental too, not just stocking up on the best prepper food on the planet, stag chili, link will be in the description. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll talk to you soon.